Bumps and bruises, scratches and scrapes, some of the ingredients that a good life makes. But sorrows become success, and as we aim for the top, we will pause if we must, but we will never stop. Welcome to Simso Sessions. Hello there, and welcome to Simso Sessions, the safe space to share your stories. Tonight, we talk to songbird Shauna Mckenzie, who you better know as Etana. First, though, we're checking in with one of our previous guests from last season. Her name is Janella Preciu. She's my friend and colleague, and she joins us now via Zoom. Janella Bella, good evening, good night. What's going on?
Hi, Simone.
How are you?
Thanks for having me once again. I am doing fabulous. What can I say? I'm doing fabulous.
It is. We'll take it.
Yes.
So your video with your mom on social media, it's probably at about 200,000 views now. What? Because it was so well received. So let's go back to that time on the show. First of all, the experience for you. What was that like being here?
I think that this is perhaps the best experience of the year. I mean, lots of good things have happened to me this year, but this definitely topped it off. And you know what was interesting, while she was here, you know, we're walking and people are saying, oh, I know you, you know, like, so she felt like a superstar. I mean, it has just been a wonderful experience. And then, of course, my daughter, when she saw grandma for the first time, she was absolutely elated because she hadn't seen her in about 2 to 3 years. So yeah, it was great. It was wonderful. And I have to say though, Simone, that I always tell people that there is such great relief when you talk about things. And I mean, once again, I just want to thank you for this platform and for what you're doing for persons who are hurting. And I know that it may not always, you know, take the pain away, but it is such a good thing when you talk about things. And that is what happened to me. I call it the great release, Simone, the great release.
Yeah.
And I am a much better person for having spoken about all of these issues that I did.
Wow. Thank you so much, Nella Bella. I'm glad you felt that way. After the show, I'm curious what that was like with you and Mom, because a lot of the things she would have heard you speak about, I don't know if in so much depth, because when she came on the set, she was so emotional based on what she was hearing you say. So how did that work after? I mean, did you guys get to another level in the relationship? Or were you able to talk about other things, even what she was sharing with us in that clip about what she went through and the similarity and the thread in your experiences?
Right. So there was another layer that we had to deal with because my little brothers, it was the first time they were hearing about this. And they were insisting that they need to know who and, you know. So for me, I had been shielding them this entire time. They had no idea that, you know, about what their father did, etc. So we had reached a point. I mean, I was okay not telling them. But then my mother, she went ahead and she told them. So, you know, so that's another layer that we have to deal with right now. Them accepting the fact that, hey, this happened to my sister. It was not right, you know. And how do they treat their father now? Is it that they look at him any differently? I'm not sure. I never had that conversation, and it is something that I'm hoping one day that I will have with both of them. Because at the same time, you know, Simone, even though this happened to me, I do understand the role that their father played in their life. And I mean, I also understand that there's nothing that can possibly take away from that. But at the same time, you hurt my sister. So it's another hill that we have to climb as a family. But I know that, you know, in time, everything is in time, right? we will get through to it. But that it was a shocker for them.
You know what's funny about this show? People always share with me before, and then there are things that they will say, okay, we don't want to talk about this on air, and then they come on air and they talk about it. Nella Bella, you didn't even mention in the last show who it was.
I did
know
not.
You're talking about it openly.
Oh my goodness! I did not. Yeah, it was my stepfather. I did not. Yeah, it was my stepfather. Oh, Simone, let me tell you something. And then my father, he saw the show, and there was this element of guilt, and I mean, it's just so this is now an entire new hurdle that we as a family we have to cross.
Yeah.
And I know that we will cross it, and I think it really helped talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you helped so many people who had gone through a similar experience, not just with the postpartum, but with the abuse. I mean, we saw it on our social media pages. I'm curious, like, how many people were reaching out to you for help and advice?
Oh my goodness, it's amazing. Everywhere I went. And up to today, there are so many women, and this is what I'm learning. There are so many women with scars. And, you are raised to believe as a woman, you have to be strong, blah, 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 yada, yada. You can't be vulnerable, etc., etc. There are a lot of women hurting. And it's probably not physical abuse, but it's also verbal abuse and other forms of abuse. You know what I'm saying? And that is something that has been amplified after I told my story. And what was encouraging is that some of them are saying, you know what, I'm going to seek help because it is affecting me in some way or form, because I always preach that there is healing and there is value in being vulnerable.
Absolutely.
So I'm happy that I was able to do that for them in my small way, although I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm so happy for you, Janella. I'm glad you shared. I'm glad people got something from it. I know that folks are going to be reaching out to you for a long time.
Yeah.
We spoke about you making this a part of your core mission now, talking to women who've gone through postpartum, talking to folks who've gone through abuse. Is this something that you can see yourself doing on a more formal basis?
Of course, I'm always open to it. I'm always open to helping where I can. And, help comes in many forms. It could mean directing people to the right professionals. It could mean, some people just want they just want a listening ear.
Yes.
So, I mean, it helps. Help can come in a lot of forms. And as long as I'm able to, I'm always open to that.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you, it's so moving for a lot of people when the folks we look at, like our news anchor, can open up about the fact that this human thing happened to me because if you pinch me and you cut me, I bleed just like anybody else.
Yeah.
And it makes it the great equalizer. And the fact that you are here now in your life and you can look back and say, I made it, is instructive for somebody else. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks for
Dad wanted to take you and your mommy to dinner and you said yes, and then we never made it happen. So next time.
Next time.
Okay, next time. Love you, girl. Thank you so much, Janella, for talking to us. All right, folks, that's it with Janella. Catching up with her. When we come back, we talk to tonight's guest, Etana. So she faced tough times growing up, but always had the supportive family to carry her through. And when it became time to navigate her career of choice, music, relationships, and motherhood, she would have to lean a bit on her own and fight for her choices and for her ultimate happiness. Shauna Mckenzie, aka Etana, is my guest tonight. She's in the big chair. Hello, love. Welcome to the show. So
Thanks for
good
having me.
It's good to have you.
As usual.
Yeah, it's always nice when we talk.
Right.
Just that we have a little more time now, which I really appreciate, because I think you have a lot to say and a mission to inspire, not just through your music, but through your story. So thank you for being here again. Born and raised, I learned a lot about you in our pre-talk.
I know, right? But that was a good talk.
I know it was. It was a great talk. So you were born here, raised here until you were 9.
9.
So I didn't know you were living in Fine for so long.
All that
You
time.
grew there,
Yes,
essentially.
grew up in Florida.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So you had a lot of family around you. You grew in Guys Hill, then you were in Corville, then you were in Harborview, um, Augustown as well, at
Right.
different points in your
Bryce
life. And
Hill.
then you, was it where?
So it was Reserve Road. Then my mom was living for a short time in Bryce Hill, and then she moved to Ellison Flats, and then Corville, and then Harborview, and then we were out to
Yeah.
Florida.
You were raised largely with your mom, who
Right.
was a court reporter,
Right.
and really kind of like the only one in her family to get so far ahead. So
Right.
whatever she did was for everybody, essentially.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about your upbringing amongst your cousins and
It was fun. I mean, even though we had to like sometimes sleep on the same bed, and it was a lot of us, or who couldn't fit on the bed go under the bed, and we would tell duppy stories so the ones under the bed would be scared, you know. It was just fun. You know, we used to play Spider-Man and cowboy and Indian and jump off of the roof, pretend we're flying when the grandmother wasn't around, or of course, because you couldn't jump off of the roof if your parents were.
no.
Right, so we have to wait till she gone a shop, and then we say she gone, climb up, climb up on the grill and chuck off
You
the
didn't hurt
roof.
yourself ever, did
No,
you? Thank God, thank God. Okay,
we had fun.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You were, again, raised largely with your mom.
right,
Your dad was largely not there.
right. They separated when I was 4, and for many years I used to say, a beer ate my dad. Like I would have nightmares that a beer ate him, and my mom says I used to wake up screaming and crying. You know, a bear ate my dad. Them kill him. You know, because I just never saw him for so long. And she said she hunt down the whole place and got every bar that she know him used to stop, and till she found a lady who told him, you know, who he was with, and she eventually found him. And I went and spent a weekend. It was like, yeah, it felt like a day or two, not a full weekend, probably a day. And when I went there and I saw that he was with a lady and another 2 kids, I was very upset
At, at,
at,
fi-
at 5. So I went home and I told my mom, I said, listen, you know, say, I don't want to go back to him though, because he left me to go be with somebody else with 2 kids. I just don't want to go back to see
You were
him.
processing that at
5.
5 years old.
Oh yeah, I was livid. I was so upset. I remember I was so mad, and then it didn't matter if I didn't see him again. But funny thing, I never hated him. You know, it that's the strange part. I never hated. I was always, you know, wanting my mother to still talk positively
That's,
about him. Right?
wow.
Weird.
So was it indifference, but you just never wanted a bad word said about him? Was it never really matter to you if you saw him?
No, it didn't matter if I saw him. I just didn't want anybody to say anything bad.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Was there trauma you think involved in not having him around?
Definitely, because I was so attached to him, you know, and it wasn't until later in my life when I realized that, hey, could it be that you're possibly choosing some of these people who like remind you of your father, like the same height, the same look? And then I started to make changes in my life moving forward after realizing I was about maybe 21 or so when I realized that it was shocking to me, you know. But I decided then that I needed to figure out what is it that I wanted
Good.
in a man or in a partner in order to try to make better choices.
We're going to get there. Let's talk about a little bit about your time in Augustown. You'd spend maybe a day at a time, like weeks at a time, sometimes?
Yeah, man, because my grandmother would take care of all of us, all the kids. So my mother traveled across Jamaica to different parishes as a court reporter, you know, and so most of the time was spent with my aunts or my grandmother. My aunts were most amazing. Well, my grandmother was too, everybody. My aunts taught me some of the things that my mom probably wouldn't have said because they were a little younger than her, you know. And then my grandmother now is the one who would go for the belt when it's needed, you know, but she was always so, like most of the things my grandmother used to say, I used to ignore her and laugh, or we used to make fun of the way she say it, you know. But after I became an adult is when I realized all the
Oh my
things,
God.
all the jewels that were being dropped, you know, and I just never catch it then. But it's
Yeah.
somewhere inside of me, it stayed,
Yeah.
and I'm able to apply stuff like that now.
But you saw entirely too much
Yeah.
at that point in your life.
Yeah, I saw a whole lot. Ooh, I mean, when you grow up in the garrison, I think my story might not be much different from regular people were in the garrison. I know you see fights, man a beat woman, you see people will get shot, you know, whole heap of different things, you know. So I don't think my story is any different. The only thing that I remember that stuck with me the most was when my aunt was murdered by her boyfriend. And it happened in front of her sons. But where was I? By this time, I was in Florida. I was still young, you know, I think I was in middle school or high school. And I got a dream that somebody somebody threw a big stone in a somebody head, but the hair was so big that I thought it was my other aunt because she has really big hair, Auntie Jai. And I got up in the morning and I said, Mommy, somebody did. And she said, nobody tell me every time you have a dream come. So
You're a dreamer.
yeah, so I say, no, for real, me see it. Like him drop a stone in her head and then him did a stab up somebody else. Somebody else was there. So when I call Jamaica now, I call my Auntie Winnie. And I say, Auntie Wee, who dead? Auntie Jai dead? And she said, no, Auntie Grace. That was my favorite. Ooh, woo. So,
Wow.
yeah.
All right, hold it. We have more with etana on the other side of the break. Soon come. Wow. All right. We're back with etana, everybody. Let's pick up a little further on when you left here to live abroad.
So,
You know, people think, oh, you're going to a better life, and it's, you know, foreign is a land of.
Lord of mercy, let me
Not
tell you
quite.
how when my mother asked me if I wanted to, this happened kind of weird because my grandmother filed for my father.
That's your dad's mother.
Right.
Right.
And she put on the paper that he was not married. And my father, on his application here, put on the paper that he was still married, just separated. And they said, well, if you're married, you have to take your family with you. So my mother said, do you want to go? And I said, of course. I want to go to foreign. You know, and she started saying, but you realize that I would have to leave my job. And I don't know what I would become, you know, there because I don't have, you know. And we had this long discussion. But anyway, he at the time was not ready financially to pay for everybody because now the money is bigger, right? So my mom chipped in, bought all the tickets, did everything. Because, of course, by this time, I didn't realize that my grandmother was not happy about that. And I was like, yes, me go foreign. But then when I got there, it was cool for the first week or two until my mom started going and doing little jobs here and there. But then I realized, well, when I got there, my mom wasn't there yet. So I was there with my father for a couple of weeks and it was fine then. But as soon as my mom came, my dad left. He just left immediately.
Again.
Again.
Left you again.
Again. And my mom had to go and do little jobs here and there. And then my grandmother now would make sure that there was no food there for me to eat. So my auntie them used to come and say, Lord, God, oh my God, I can't believe it. You know, eat nothing all day. I said, no. And they would go and carry pizza And little after that, things start getting a little funny. Like, oh, your beard too long, or, well, you put different things. Until the final straw was when she told my mom that she had to leave. I don't know what she was saying to my mom, and she said, me take the pot and lick you, I said, lick her. If you lick she, you have to lick me too. But them time, I lick a girl, but I'm defending my mother. I felt like I needed to. And she told her she had to leave. And then when my mom left, I said, well, if she left, me not stay neither. So I went into the room and I got my stuff and I went down the road to see if my mom was there. Walked down the road to the bus stop to see if she would be sitting there. And when I looked, she was not there. So I figured I would walk up the road to where my friend lived, that we used to walk to school together, and ask her if I could live with her for a little bit.
Good gracious.
And I went from one friend to the next friend to the next friend, and they came to the school looking for me one day, and I left the school. I disappeared. And I stayed out on the road for a while, just from friend to friend house.
Wow. You went to middle, you went to high, eventually you went to college, and you were studying to be a nurse, right? Because that's what you wanted to do. And you're like, no, this is not it. Because you couldn't just get the theory and stuff. Music was always something that you had loved, and you decided that you want to do it. You ended up in a pop group, but you didn't stay long there either because there was too much control.
Yeah.
You wanted to change who you were.
Yeah, I mean, I went there with like an afro hair, and I was like the skirt wearing, full body covering kind of person. And they were like, no, we are the thong wearing, lingerie wearing, choreography doing.
Okay, yeah.
But not only that, I wasn't able to write the songs that I wanted to write. And I realized that I had to I showed up, they did my hair, they gave me my shoes, they gave me my clothes, they gave me my food. Then you have to work out. I was sleeping one morning early, and I hear the door banging, boom, 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 boom. And this is not in the apartment that they had us all in. I actually thief and go out one of my friend them house because I didn't want to go to the gym. And they found me and said, listen, come on, you have to go early in the morning. Let's go. You work out when they want you to work out. You eat what they give you, stuff like that.
You eventually walked away from that. But
Yeah.
interestingly, I mean, although you came home in your early 20s to pursue the music, reggae wasn't in your sights initially at all.
No, I mean, when I was in the group, I was paid and I was comfortable. I was living very comfortable. I just decided that it was not for me, based on what them did I deal with. Like, I didn't want to be naked. I didn't want to be opening my legs in front of a camera, And I said, if this is what music is, I'm done. I'm just going to go to Jamaica, open up some kind of internet cafe, and forget about music altogether.
Well, that worked out. When we come back, we're going to talk about how the music started here and about some other rough patches that Etana had when she came home. Well, actually early in her life, but continued when she came home. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We're back with Etana, or Shauna, as we would call her, because that's her real name. Good to be back with you, ladies. So you're here in Jamaica. You come home with your partner at the time. You start this business. Eventually, you do the reggae. You're able to do it on your own terms, and you start this career. But you told me that that relationship ended up being an abusive relationship, but that the first relationship that you remember being abusive was when you were 16 years old? 16.
Well, remember, I know, like, the whole time that I was going from house to house, when I think one of the best things that ever happened to me is that I could have been raped and never was. Many things could have happened. Because imagine, I was a young girl in people's houses all over, and nothing happened like that. And then the first time that I decided, okay, I'm going to talk to this guy, because this is my first time that my mother actually got an apartment now. So this is a little while after. And she was trying to settle. My mother did living jobs. She did everything she could. And so she didn't even know who this guy was because she would come home on Fridays or whenever she came home, give me the money to pay all the bills. And I would go and make sure all of these bills are paid. And I would get up and go to school every morning. I was a straight A student, AB, all the way. I was pretty good. So she would have never think. So anyways, I was there talking to this guy, and I'm tell you, it's like he would be abusive for nothing at all. Like he would come in and say, wash your plate. And if you don't wash your plate, me just go, him say, no, him say, wash your plate. And if you don't wash your plate, me, I'll kill you. But
Reasonable.
no. This was like run up
mean-
and box and kick,
Crazy.
punch, like fight. I mean, and I was so little. I was like, when I say mager, like nothing, mager, skinny, light, like feather. And this man would just like throw me. And the next door neighbor would, as soon as my mom comes, she would say, I heard him. He was beating her and she was screaming. You need to get that guy away from her. Blah, 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 blah. And another time again, he did the same thing. And my brother did come down from Philadelphia with film friend them. And at that time, he, is a regular teenager, but bad out there. And he brought this little 2.5 and him say, yo, if you ever need to protect yourself from nobody, hold this, right?
2.5 equal a gun, by
Yeah,
the way.
like, yeah. And so when he came in the house, after him threatened me and said, I'm going to kill me, this time I thought he was, because after he heard that my aunt died and how she died, he brought a big knife into the room to intimidate me. But I think that was the straw. Like, when you bring up, like, my aunt that died the way she did, I think you said something to me when you showed me a knife. So when he came back to the house and opened the door, I was already sitting in the chair with a gun. And as him opened the door, I'm gonna pick it up. Him just
Yeah, you never saw
that
him
was
again.
that was it.
But ending up here in the same situation and looking back, you say, wondering, about the life choices and so on you made. You say no, you are able to discern. You have a spirit of, once upon a time you were a girl who you had to prove that you're not good for me to suspect you. Now you hold everybody.
At a distance, I do. And I'm very paranoid, and I have to be. I mean, throughout my life and music and everything that I've been through with people that I trusted, from a little girl all the way up, I have to do that to keep my own sanity. And I'm very, very paranoid. I think the person that has to deal with it the hardest, I think, is my husband, because he has to deal with everything and explain to other people when things happen that I look away. He might say, yo, just don't, I just thought she stay. But them wouldn't understand.
I know, because they haven't walked a mile in your shoes.
Right.
But it's you talking to your girls for me now, because, I mean, as young as they are, you had your son young.
Yeah.
But you say no, you age appropriately try to explain to your daughters what the risks are, because you don't want them to end up.
After I had my son, I realized that I loved him, but I didn't know I was going through too much. I had too much to deal with inside, too much trauma. Never, So I don't think I was the best mother for him. And I waited like 15 years before I had kids again, because I knew that, I now know that when you have a child young, you still have so much to unpack, maybe from other traumas, other things, and then so much you're learning at the same time, that it's best for you to find yourself first, find that balance, and know exactly what you want for yourself. Because when you bring another human into your already messed up, twisted life, it complicates it even more.
Yeah. Wow. How are you doing as a mom?
Oh, I love it.
Good.
I mean, I love all of it. My son now still is a little bit angry, because I'd left him when he was like really small, and not completely, but physically, while I'm doing all of these things, trying to find myself, and I would make sure him go to school. Like when I brought him to private school and the teachers saw me, them say, "Oh, you're his sister. Where's his mom?" You know? And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And he would say, "No, that's my mom." You know? It was just always so awkward. And funny now, my kids now go to the same school, and the teachers would come to me and say, "I remember when you brought your son the first time, I thought you was his sister."
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I'm much better at it now, and I overlove them, all of them
Yeah.
actually.
No doubt you get a lot of help in doing that from
Yes,
those
my
who
mother.
love them as well.
My mother.
Let's run our good vibes for Etana.
I want to big you up and let you know how I'm feeling today. Just loving me some Etana. You see, I got Etana all around me. For every mood, every situation, there's Etana. She's going to pull me out of it. Do you remember the first time I met you? You came to my house in California for your show at Moe's in Santa Cruz. Well, I've been turned out ever since. I didn't know anyone could sing like that. From reggae artist Jamaica to Grammy nominee ×2. You know you're going to get it next time. They can't hold you down. They can't hold you down. Loving me some Etana. Just want you to know that. I love every song you've produced, promoted. I love how you laugh. I love how you dress. You just make me giggle when you giggle. And just remembering all those times. Thank you for loving me, Etana. Know that I love you, love you, love you.
Hey, Etana. So everyone knows how much I love you and your music, but I'd like to take you back to where it all began. In summer 2008, I got my first Etana CD, the Strong One, and I totally loved it. The following June, I attended my first Etana concert in Boonville, California, and I was mesmerized. Your voice and lyrics were so powerful, I was hooked. Little did I know the impact you would have on me and my life. Your music has been such an inspiration, comfort, and joy for me. Anytime I am down or discouraged, I listen to I Rise, and somehow my mindset is changed. I am truly grateful that you continue to share your gift with us. It has been my pleasure to watch you grow from such a young artist to a now 2-time Grammy-nominated independent artist. The journey so far has been amazing, and I look forward to what's to come. I love you dearly, Etana. Stay blessed and continue to spread love.
Etana is very important for us, especially because she does the connection between classics and modern reggae roots. She came here for 3 times. Come back soon, Etana. Brazil loves you.
Bigging up my sister from another mother, the strong one Etana. Enough respect, enough love to you, Etana. And you know we've got you over here in the UK. Every song I play from Etana from 2007 right through, I have a huge request for Etana. So big up yourself, Etana. Enough love from your brother Natty B, and keep on doing what you're doing. Positive music, keeping the pulse of reggae music alive. We love you. Yes.
Etana, Etty, you know what time it is, it's new Prince from Ever Since. Etana, I definitely know the journey. From the conceptualization of the name through to writing your first song on the tour bus. And when you said to me, I don't even know to write a song. And now, fast forward, you have a body of work, or rather bodies of work. So, congrats, it's a well-trodden journey, and but big up to you. I'm looking forward to more. Much love.
I just wanted to let you know that you're my role model. I love you, and thanks for loving me.
Etana, the strong one, Anthony loves you. Keep doing your best. Keep singing music, clear, clean music. Keep singing reggae. God is with you and will always be with you. Love you, my niece. Mwah.
Love you so much. Full time now to see you again. I love you, I love you, I love you. Keep on being strong.
Yeah, I wish you all the best in life, you know. I come far away, so you deserve a breaking everywhere. Struggle just like everybody else, so every time I know, you know. I always am motivated in a roughest time, so you know, do what you say. Stand up here as a family, not leave your side, you know. back here one and get person by a journey, because I don't know. It's not easy, it's no water. I try that and see me, so all the best again. Wishing enough life and prosperity.
Shauna, you remember when I was living with you and we had nothing, like it was only bread at the house and peanut butter and jam, and we wanted juice from the store, the gas station. That's when we were in Stony Hill. There were literally no, like, a tubes of gas in the car. Long story short, we went to the gas station with the silver. I remember that juice bottle you had with silver in it, and we used the silver to get juice and we used the silver to get gas for the car. And we were just laughing, like, suppose the car shut off with me, suppose this happen, suppose that happen. And we made it back home, and I just want to say, like, you've come a far way. I admire you, and I'm super, super, super proud of you. And like, even now when I listen to your song, or even when I see you, if I see you post something on Instagram, or if you come here in Jamaica and I went to a show with you, like goosebumps, like just full me all over. And I remember back then when you just was how shy you were, and all of that. Now you're in a video and I'm going with yourself and something. Like, I am so proud of you and I love you dearly. I'm sure you know it. Thank you for your kindness, which can never be repaid. Thank you for your understanding and the difference it made. Continue being that strong one. That name suits you because he's a strong woman, you know?
Big up my mom, the strong one that's always doing her thing and conquering the world as usual. Positive vibes, and the youths them is gravitating, the world is gravitating, something for the young and the elderly, you know what I mean? So mommy, keep it going, you know what I mean? Conquer the world, strong one, I like.
From you were a babe, I could tell you were gonna sing. As a matter of fact, it was your grandfather who told us that you will be a singer, because you kept crying all at nights, all through the night, screaming on top of your lungs. So he said that child is gonna be a singer, and we live to prove it. You are a wonderful singer. Everybody loves you. Keep that voice going and stay sweet. Bye for now, your dear mom.
How did you do that?
Oh, if I had $1 for every time somebody asked.
It was so hard to watch.
Was it?
And so hard to keep my tears back.
You don't have to.
I'm sure some of my makeup spoiled.
It's okay. We can fix that during the break. Makeup. Your mom, before we had to break, you could have lost her in 2020.
I could have. I came off the road.
Yeah?
No, Auntie Joy that you saw there. Go look for Mama Joy. She said, no, they're there. Auntie Joy text me and she said, look for your mother. She just sit down there and just nod and nothing. Just sit down there. And when I saw her, she just looked like she was sleeping. So I said, okay, that's fine. But when I came in, she was looking darker. She was looking swollen. I said, no, you have to leave tomorrow morning. I bought the ticket immediately. I didn't even put my bags down. Sit down in a chair, my bags at the door, buy the ticket immediately and put her on the next flight. And the next day, she got a stroke in Florida.
Thank God she was where she could get the help that she needed.
I'm sure that if she did there, it would be different.
We're not talking about that because she did there a while ago. Alive and well.
Alive and well.
God be praised. Come back and put the lid on the show after this break. Soon come. Makeup! All right, putting the lid on the show with Shauna, 9 albums, 2 Grammy noms later. You are at a comfortable place in your life. No regrets?
Oh, man. The only thing I would probably say, and I'm not sure if it's a regret, but the only thing that I would change is not trusting that I could have went on my own like I wanted to in the beginning, as opposed to signing an agreement with VP. I wanted, when I got to Fifth Element, I know we didn't get to that part, but I wanted to for them to release the music independently from the beginning. But as you know, they got incarcerated. I ended up on my own, and I was told to go to them, and I did.
You've gone through a lot through your career. When you just came home, I mean, you'd have people turn off your microphone on you on stage.
Lord,
You
hey.
started to get too big. They wouldn't allow you to play with your band. You'd have to play with. I mean, you've been through some stuff in this industry. And when you sit now and look at where you are and telling me, you know, Simone, I make music when I want to, based on when I feel like, whatever. I mean, it must be such a gratifying feeling to know how far you've come.
It is. It is. I try not to take moments for granted. A lot of people say, like, you know, how do you feel like after you get a Grammy and stuff, or I mean Grammy nomination? Yeah, I scream and I get excited, but then I automatically got to the point that just because I got that, it means that I have to work harder. So it's not that I don't appreciate how far I come. I just feel like I have so much more to do.
Including?
New music.
Yeah.
All the time, and touring to different places that I haven't been, and maybe putting on bigger performances in places that I've been before. You know?
No, you say you know what you want, which you say is the key to moving all of our lives forward, is knowing what you want. And that comes with a number of things. One, you say, is learning to accept the things you cannot change.
Yes.
You're there now.
Yes.
Yeah. So anything that comes that you can't fix, you just say, I can't fix.
I just allow it to be. I allow it to be because it's there for whatever reason it's there for, or that person or that thing. And maybe it's not for me to fix, but to learn from.
Right.
You
so
know?
that's the other thing, is accepting yourself for who you are.
All the time. There are many times when me hear the nappy, people used to say, like one lady called me up on one plane and she said, come here, me ask you something. And when I went to her, she said, where your mother there? So I say, my mother is home, what do you mean? She said, you can't come here. She not tell you to come here. You know? And then I realized when I wear the long skirt, them, somebody, I come out the stage and somebody say, I can't believe you up on the stage now a long skirt again. You know, so I realized that you can't please people, you have to just please yourself.
That's right.
You know, and I have to be comfortable in my own skin, doing me as much as I feel like it.
So it's accepting yourself for who you are, and you say, and whatever you're feeling.
Yeah, as a vibe. If I get up today and I feel like wrap up my head, I go into that. If I feel like wearing an afro, I go into that. If I feel like wearing my ear straight and blow out, I go do that. If I feel like wear it long like Rapunzel, that I go do. Because that's how I feel.
And the final thing is building a broad back and being strong.
Yeah, because people will always talk. People are going to talk.
People talk.
That's what they do.
That's what they do.
You know? There are many people around the world, and every individual have them own brain and them own thoughts. Can you imagine that? So can you imagine trying to please that many people in the entire world just because they have a different opinion? And people will always say, oh, I prefer this. And I say to people, your preference is for you. I prefer to eat vegetables, or I prefer to drink mango juice. I prefer, but I can't prefer something for you.
Your life is your own.
Yeah.
You steer the ship.
Yes, man, all the time.
Can't live for other people. You have to
because I'm here to learn my own lessons.
That's right.
I'm here on my own journey. When I came here by myself, I came here, my mother had me, but I came here by myself. She never had two, I wish she had one. And I'm the only child from my mother. And when I go, I will go by myself. So therefore, I have to live and experience life as I wish and please to. Because in the end, it's all on me. Between me and the Most High, the creator of life.
You look really happy though.
I am.
Yeah.
I learned to just accept people, man. Just deal with people accordingly and love them the same way. Because you know what? People vibrate on different levels, right? I remember, Me come to learn my lessons, you come to learn yours, everybody. But I'm not going to be where you are, and you are not going to be where I am. So that means to say, if you do something wrong or something I think is wrong or I don't like, I can look and say, I don't like here now because this and that, it might burn me so till. But in the end, I have to accept that maybe you said next week or tomorrow, you yourself may even realize, you know, I do something wrong and I shouldn't do that. That we learn.
Yes, have
so
to.
I love you
Important
just
part.
the way you are.
Never let them get
you down.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. It was so good to talk to you today.
Ah, it's always my pleasure to talk to you.
Okay, all right, folks, it is time for our affirmation. All right, so life, it has a way of putting us through some paces. No warning, no training, just vibes. And even when you're trying to cry, life just keeps on lifing, because that's what it does. Sometimes we feel like life has given us the wrong address, right? Like, is this really the direction that I'm going in? All these valleys, where are the hills? All these potholes, where is the smooth road? Nothing normal about it. I lie? But the truth is, there is nothing normal about you either. And though it may not seem like it, Etana reminds us that we were born strong. We were made for this. You can be hurt, but not broken. You can be down, but you won't die. In spite of all you've been through, push with power until that little thing called faith makes your broken wings fly. Tonight, we are affirming, I am not afraid. I will fight. I will rise. That is our soul food and our show for this evening. Thank you very much for watching. We are here next week with another story of the power of the human spirit. Until then, every blessing, and please remember to count your blessings.